This is another keyword golden ratio success story. In this one, I talked to Wesley, and he started a site and made his first sale in just about 30 days. So really cool story. I'm excited to share it. We also talk about one of Wesley's other sites, how the skyscraper method is working well, and some tips for beginners. So let's get to the interview right now. I almost forgot, if you're not on the email list, you should check it out. Go to nichesiteproject.com and hit the green button. Enter your email address. I'll send you all my templates, a bunch of other guides, and 15,000 keywords. So if you're interested in Amazon affiliate marketing, you should definitely check it out. Welcome everybody. I'm Doug Cunnington. I'm sitting with my friend Wesley. How are you doing today, Wesley?
Doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing awesome. It's sort of like the thaw here in Montana, so it's a little slushy out there walking the dog, but at least that means it's warming up. So, by the way, where are you from, Wesley?
From Alabama. It's a little wet here right now, but hopefully everything will be okay.
Okay, cool. Which part of Alabama?
Central Alabama, around Clanton.
Okay.
We're right in the middle.
Gotcha. Okay. Because I'm from Georgia, so I pass through those parts on the way to different road trips and stuff like that. So cool. Well, I'm going to get to the point really quick here and then we'll backtrack. So You emailed me because you started a new site, a new Amazon affiliate site, and you're using the keyword golden ratio. Can you just kind of tell me about the results that you're seeing and a little bit of a timeline? We'll dive in deeper later, but if you could tell us about like the success you're seeing so far.
Well, on the new site, it's actually been really crazy to see it because on my first site, it's completely non-KGR for all the content. And this is the quickest I've actually seen a website get clicks because it's only been 30 days, and it's already getting clicks and visits, but not a ton. One here, one every 3 days or something, but it's getting traffic period, which is crazy to be that young.
Okay, cool. And so right now it's like March 19th, it's a Monday. It's March 19th, I think. So right. When did you first launch the site?
Launch as far as when I published my first piece of content?
Yeah.
Or just the first piece of content was at the very end of, I think it was January 30th.
January 30th. Okay. Did you buy the domain just in January sometime?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, not much before that.
Okay. So this is really cool because basically within 6 weeks, you bought a domain, launched the site, and there's like some traffic there. Now, have you done any link building or is it just keyword golden ratio?
No link building at all. The content only have like 9 or 10 pieces of content even. No link building. So it's still, just very, very, very new.
Very cool. Now that we have sort of like why you're here, I want to hear about your background. How'd you get into online, like making money online, affiliate marketing, and you probably had a day job at some point. So just Take us through that. Tell us about yourself.
Okay, well, to make it a long story, not too long, I started off, I was actually working on the railroad with CSX. That was my day job. And I started doing drop shipping, selling Amazon products on eBay before drop shipping was cool. It was like way back when. And that's kind of sparked my interest on the whole online thing. So I gradually transferred into working less hours, calling in sick on purpose and things like that so I could work, at home. Right. And I'm not a very good employee. I guess you can tell that from that. But I ended up leaving my job and doing the whole eBay thing really hardcore. And I got hit with a tax bill from the IRS, which I wasn't expecting.
Oh, yeah.
I was new to it, wasn't saving my tax portion. So that kind of threw a wrench into everything. So then I picked up another job, which was at that point working at a pawn shop. Had my first kid on the way, everything like that, and I started doing an online gaming community. Have you ever heard of Minecraft?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I figured out I could make money from it because these people would buy virtual currency, things in the game, and it ended up making enough money so I could replace my day job. So I did that for the longest time, and eventually I started a website for that community. Okay. And that's where I read a post on Amazon Associates, how you can make money with referring products, things like that. I literally read like one post and then tried to do it, so I didn't know what I was doing at all. I was targeting like these super hard keywords and I only had like 3 posts, right? I actually started ranking for one of keyword on like routers, out of all things, wireless routers. And I made a couple sales, and after that, I was hooked,
Wow.
And then it's kind of inched towards where I'm at now.
Gotcha. And so you were working the railroad, CSX. Basically, you started doing a little more Minecraft, or you were doing eBay stuff. Sorry.
eBay at the time, right?
Okay. What year was that roughly? Just curious.
Early 2012.
Okay.
Something like that.
Got it. And the reason why I'm pointing that out, so you did eBay stuff and then you meandered a little bit, Minecraft. So you went from eBay, drop shipping to gaming. And the reason why I'm pointing this out is you launched a site and you started getting traffic in 30 days. That's cool. But also you had, 5-7 years experience like before we got to this point, something
Right.
like that. And now it wasn't exactly an Amazon affiliate, but it's not your first time around the block. And I do want to point that out. I don't want to paint a picture that just anyone can do it. But you look like a normal dude,
Right, yeah.
pretty much.
I'm just grew up around computers a lot, so
Sure.
I'm
All right.
always on them.
Yeah, and I just wanted to point that out. Now, I do know that you had another site that you launched, I guess, out of the Authority Hacker paid course, which I'm not affiliated, but I know they're actually a competitor of mine, but they're good dudes, and you launched a site out of that course, right?
I actually started the site before I met them during the Spencer Hawes the NSP 3.0,
Sure.
Site Project 3.0. I started right around then, so I didn't really have a course, but then I joined Authority Hacker like very kind of soon after.
Gotcha. Okay, so about 2016, early 2016 is when you started it?
Right.
Gotcha. And you enrolled with Authority Hacker. They got you pointed in the right direction. And can you tell us about the results of that site and kind of, some of the background?
Yeah, it started in pretty much January 2016, basically. And right from there to now, I'm making between 800 and 1,000 every single month. Not where I want it to be, obviously, especially with that much time involved. But I haven't really honed any like link building or anything like that. And and all the articles started with different keyword research, which was, I guess, to say by comparison to what I've learned with KGR is a big difference.
Okay.
I feel way more comfortable using like KGR content than what I was doing before.
Okay.
It feels way more solid, in my opinion.
Okay. And for the sake of comparison, can you tell us about maybe one example of sort of how they frame or how your keyword research was framed? I'm not going to say it's credited to a specific person since that was a few years ago, but can you just tell us how you approached keyword research in 2016?
Well, the way I learned it back then was basically reverse engineering using Ahrefs, looking at your competitors. But the only problem with it was there wasn't enough, I guess you could say, filters to really pick the golden nugget keywords for a beginner site. And I was kind of picking like just random stuff. And another problem was the content that I was going after for keyword research wasn't as well grouped. Like I know you like to use pins for an example, right? So I might have had like one post on pins, but then I would have another post on how to write a novel or something, like it'd just be
Sure.
completely different instead of a whole bunch of posts on pins starting off. So the first site is a mixture of really horrible research into me getting knowledgeable over time, and then the later half of it getting better.
Okay, got it. And that totally makes sense. I mean, that actually, I think it probably describes how a lot of people get started with affiliate marketing and SEO, and probably a lot of other things too. When I just think of the hobbies that I get into, like beer brewing, I didn't know what I was doing. And I tried to do a lot of research and I thought I knew what I was doing. But now I know more about beer than I ever did. And I feel like I know less than I ever have. And there's so much more to learn. So,
Right.
I mean, we're ignorant when we first start out working on something and then we get better and better. So, okay, cool. Now, when did you discover the keyword golden ratio?
It would probably be around the very end of 2017, I think it was.
Okay.
Right, so
Few
that's been
months
only
ago.
a couple months.
Okay.
And that's when I discovered it.
And you mentioned to me before we started recording that you're trying to add a lot more KGR content to this site that's making 800 to 1,000 currently.
Right.
So can you tell me about how you're approaching that? And I mean, we may have an opportunity where I could just give you some advice or tips based on it. So like right here in the call. So if you tell me on where you're at, then maybe we could solve some problems.
Well, what I started with after I discovered the KGR was I went and assessed my content into like the ratio between info and affiliate, and it was way off. So I used the KGR content to boost the informational content to bring the site level to 50-50, and that was all written by myself, and it was 90 articles in like 3 straight months, like just every single day writing, like
Wow,
hustling
man.
it out, and that's what I did there just to kind of balance it. Other than that, I took the KGR and started on the new site, and that's where I've seen actually being able to see it, I guess, in a concentrated area like that. I was able to see the results even better because it was like just fine-tuned on that one single site. But
Yeah.
on the first one, it was to like balance the content.
How many posts? You said 90 posts. And yeah, when were those published?
I published the last one January 10th, January 15th, something like that, 2 or 3 weeks before I started on the second site.
All right, got it. So that means if I'm doing the math right, you started in like early November writing all the content.
Yeah.
All right. And I'll point out something else, give you some props here. So when you first heard about affiliate, like Amazon affiliate marketing and the associates program back in whatever year, you launched a site right away. You didn't know what you were doing, but you're like, hey, I'm going to move forward with this. And
Just
then
take action, you know?
yeah, and I was going to say, you heard about the keyword golden ratio, and you're like, hey, I got nothing to lose. I'm going to write some content and see what happens. And then you move forward. You worked really hard for, 90 days. And here's what I'm going to tell you, right? So actually, let me get a little more info. So you published all this content. How are the results so far?
Well, I'm still waiting to see more and more of the results because my site doesn't have a lot of, I guess you get quote unquote authority because it doesn't have a strong backlink profile. So it still takes time for stuff to rank. And that's where I've talked with some other people and they told me, hey, you need to build links. That's what you need to do on this site number one to really see growth.
Okay.
But so I've just started on that. So
Cool.
I'm still kind of waiting to see how those KGR rank in.
So I have a theory, unsubstantiated. I haven't tested it. I haven't even done good research on it, but this is what I have kind of seen. I think there's a sandbox like when you launch a new site, but I also believe there's some sort of a sandbox for a specific URL. And I don't think it's necessarily 6 months. I don't think it's something, I think there's probably some randomness. So that's why it's hard to put my finger on. But what I've seen is you'll publish a lot of content and then you come back, say you don't pay attention, right? 2, 3, 4 months later, all of a sudden you're starting to get a little bit more traffic. It's not alarming. You don't notice it right away. But week over week, you're like, my traffic went up by like 20% over a month. And I don't know why I didn't add any content. The last time I added content was 4 months ago. And then I'm like,
Right.
oh, that's weird. And then the more I talk to people where they're patient, they'll do what you did, right? They publish a lot of content and they're like, hey, you know what? I thought it didn't work. But 6 months later, all of a sudden I have 50% more traffic and it grew pretty quickly. And literally, no links were added, no additional content was added. So there must be something else to it. But there are a couple things that I'll suggest. And Wesley, since I know that you watch a lot of the videos, or you may know some of these things, but I'll mention them right now. Anything else that you could think of, that other background information that may be helpful before I give you these? I think 3 points if I could remember them all.
Okay.
Anything else that you could think of?
For the first site, no, not
Okay.
necessarily.
Okay. Number one, you probably already have this, but make sure you have everything interlinked. So all across the site, it sounds like you at least have, 180 to 200 posts on this site. So it's not a trivial piece of work to do this analysis. There are tools that you can use so you can see the number of outbound links and make sure everything's like linked up. But the only way to do this really is to, get a list of all your URLs, maybe from the sitemap, or Screaming Frog, I think, can do some analysis for you. Basically, you end up with a list of all your posts and what they link to. And you want to make sure, 2 to 5 is kind of the range I aim at. You can do more interlinks if you want, and just make sure everything's interlinked all over. So every post has 2 to 5 outbound, 2 to 5 inbound. So that's across the whole site. That gets you your interlinking. And some people say, do you already have this in place?
Yeah, I have interlinking, but I'd have to go back and check to see how much it could be improved,
Okay. Here's the part that's difficult. You have to pull the Band-Aid on this one. So when you publish a new post, it's really easy to link to your old post, right? That's easy. You could even tell the writer to do that, or you're writing it, so you could do that. The hard part is you have to go to the old post, and then you have to link to the new one. So you have to make an update in the past. That's the part that's hard. That's the part that people omit because it's a pain in the ass. So if you go back and do that, that's a good thing to do.
That one I'm guilty of, for sure.
Yeah, I was too for a long time. And then it was like, look, it's just a problem to solve. Just like you did one new post each day, like you can do 2 old posts, just make sure you get some new links on those pages. All right. So that's number one. The other part is around just blog commenting. So it's not going to give you like a huge boost. It's rare that you're going to be able to rank just on blog comments for like any term. However, you can get that sort of brandability and links to your homepage. You don't even have to use the comment love type strategy. You can,
Right.
of course, but you don't have to. And you could potentially get some branded, or at least like Wesley at whatever your site name is. Sometimes, sites allow you to do that, or just the brand. So that's the second thing. And then the other part, of course, is the deeper external link building. But it sounds like you already have some stuff in play on that, right?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm focusing efforts at the moment to kind of strengthen my link building skills, and really, I'm just now seeing success with it, or beginning to see some success.
Okay, so what do you got going on?
I'm using the skyscraper method, and before what I would do, I would like take this post that I've informational posts in the past and just try to build links to those using skyscraper. And instead, I've went and made posts specifically designed for it instead of doing older content. And what I do to increase my success is I remove all my ads from it. I remove the sidebar, make it like a straight, narrow page, no links, no nothing until the link building is done. And then I'll go back and link to, once that page has incoming links, I'll go add links to internal link to my money pages and stuff like that.
Cool. Okay.
But I'm just now starting that whole route, so.
And for the people that don't know what the skyscraper is, can you give us just like a quick summary?
Well, my version of it is, because there's some variations since it first came out. I do shotgun skyscraper, which is basically you build an informational piece of content around a very popular topic that's talked about everywhere. It can be no matter what your industry is. And you want to build the very best piece of content for whatever that subject is. Make it, the best you can do. And then you just basically go get everybody that's linking to that topic or similar, even like shoulder topics of it. Let's like anything you can go for the shotgun method anyway. And just email them and pitch it to them, put your content in front of them, and the original method used some wording that I didn't like personally. They would say, hey, I see you linked to this piece. My piece is better. I don't do any of that. I think that's kind of shady. I'm more of like, hey, here's an additional resource if you like it. Here's an additional thing maybe your readers will like, instead of trying to talk about mine's better, theirs is worse, any of that. So basically, you're just emailing a bunch of people and showing them, putting your content in front of their eyeballs.
Okay, cool. And that generally follows the kind of method that I have seen. And you use the term shotgun. Is that credited to a specific?
I did the shotgun method. I learned through Authority Hacker.
Okay, so just want to be sure, not my thing. Authority Hacker, if you want to know more about the shotgun, but it sounds like pretty standard skyscraper. Create a good resource, and it's a shotgun approach of where like you just try to get anyone who could be remotely interested to take a look at it and potentially link. So you said you've had some decent success now that you've sort of made your page more conservative. It doesn't look so affiliate. It just looks like a great piece of content. So can you tell me about some of the results and stuff as far as link building?
Yeah, and like I said, I just started it recently, so it's the beginning of this month. But since I started sending out those emails, I've been getting 1 to 2 links every day.
Wow.
That's about what I've been getting.
And have you seen any impact on your rankings yet?
Not yet. Okay. I haven't.
That's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Because you're still link building, so you don't have the internal links going from that page to the rest of the pages that you're trying to rank.
Right.
So
not yet. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So what's your goal for this specific campaign? Like how many emails are you going to send out? What's your conversion rate? Like, can you tell us some data?
Right. Yeah, sure. The conversion rate isn't as good as like a highly targeted guest post or something like that pitch. It's definitely not. And that's another example of it being a shotgun approach. Because you're spreading your emails out everywhere. So basically, and I'm not spamming, so don't take that the wrong way. You want to see the people that want it, right? But the conversion rate is around 3% is about what you get, and that's without having to. That's only for people that put the link the first time. And now sometimes you'll get responses of people wanting, you to pay money, things like that. If those people, I just repitch them, and I'm completely honest. I'm like, hey, Google doesn't really like that. I try to avoid it. Maybe you'll want a free guest post instead. And then maybe they'll write them a guest post if they want it from there.
Got it. Very cool. When you send the emails, is it just a cold email to a person who has shown interest in that topic in the past? Is that the deal?
Right. Yeah. They'll usually have linked to a similar piece that's similar to mine. That's just, quote unquote, not as good.
Okay. Got it. And I'm interested because since other courses have been, I guess, more aggressive with it's not necessarily spamming, but sending out a lot of emails to people who may not be interested. I get a lot of the emails. That's why I can personally say I don't like them.
Right. I understand. Yeah.
But they work, right? You can't ignore the 3% and that number of links that you're getting. It also means that you're sending out hundreds
Lots
of emails a day.
Yeah.
But the other part is I like the high touch angle because it's harder for someone to emulate. A person could conceivably like reverse engineer what you've done, generally kind of do the same thing, right? But if you do the high touch, it's kind of a pain in the ass, right? So I wonder if you did, a hybrid of like sign up for their email list, build some relationship somehow, even if it's just one or two emails, and then you pitch with that. I'm just curious if it gives you even if you only go up to 4.5% or something like that, that's like a 50% increase in your conversion rate. So
Right.
and it just takes, a little bit more time, but it also would sort of put you in a class above the other people who are just sending out a bunch of emails. And there are just so many emails going out. I mean, I actually have gotten emails from the competitors in which I mentioned earlier, where in others that I haven't mentioned also, where they're like trying to get links on Niche Site Project. And they actually know me. They could just email me, but they're sending me the templated emails. So there's definitely some sloppiness in the process. I mean, and I'm not saying it works, but I'm just like, there's more waste.
Well, I think the sloppiness actually comes in the template itself. People not taking the time to personalize it, because you have to have a mixture of a template, but you have to also make it personal to that person. That's the trick.
Yeah. And it's like if you have, for example, in some of the outreach that I teach, and then I'll get off the soapbox here, I'm like, you should put an image in your, in your Gmail profile. So it's like someone's face shows up in your gravatar, right? So if you go comment on someone's blog, they see your little face, they see your name, they see your site. You send them an email, they see your face, they see the name of your site. And then when they get your pitch, they're like, oh, yeah, I remember this guy. He emailed me a couple times. I think he reads the blog. And then they'll go and check. And they're like, oh, yeah, I do know this guy. Way more tolerant.
Definitely. I agree.
So, but it takes, everything I just mentioned will make it take probably 4 to 8 times long, something like that. It'll make it go much slower than what you're doing. So keep up the good work. I'm just throwing out ideas. Maybe someone will try it.
The higher end prospects, that's something that's definitely worth doing too,
Yeah. Right on. Okay, cool. So Wesley, do you have any advice for people who are just getting started or, anything like that?
Yes, I do. One is, this is a patience game, I would say. A lot of people want to see that. And I was in that bucket too when I first started. I want to see those quick results and things like that. But in the internet world, when you're not used to it, one thing I can say I agree with 100% is your video on the first 1,000 days. Because I've done the 600 days, right? 2 years. 2018 is my, I guess, quote unquote real years, like of really getting into it, right? Yeah. So this is my last 365 days to complete 1,000 or get there.
Yeah.
And it's it feels like it's like right on track with your video.
That's very cool.
So it's like be patient, but then again, keep working. It's like hustle every single day, but then for the long term, stay patient, and you have to wait to see it play out.
Yeah, very, very well said. Thanks, Wesley. I appreciate you sharing the story. And everyone, let us know in the comments if you want to get an update from Wesley sometime in the future. Maybe I can convince him to come back on and let us hear how it's going. Awesome.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Thanks, Wesley. Appreciate it.
Thank you.